Okay, so in the last video we talked about meter, and we talked about how meter is a way of measuring or describing rhythm in a poem. So what we're going to actually talk about now are the basic building blocks of rhythm in a poem. Now I'm sure you've heard of this term before, but it's a syllable. So syllables are units of written or spoken sound that usually contains one vowel sound. So usually something doesn't really have a complete sound unless it has a vowel and a combination of consonants. A vowel being A, E, I, or U, and consonants being everything else. Now, the thing about a syllable is it's an unbroken sound, meaning that it sounds finished or complete. So it doesn't sound like you're kind of choking or you kind of stopped halfway. It's a complete sound. And the important thing to know is that words are made up of one or more syllables. So here are some examples here. So a one-syllable word could be dog. So there's one sound there, dog. Now if it were to be incomplete or broken, it might sound like do. So it's not a complete sound. I mean, it is a sound, but it's not complete. So something like dog is one sound. A word like repeat has two syllables. So repeat, repeat, two-syllable word. Telephone is three syllables. Telephone, telephone, and so on and so forth. Of course, you can have words with lots of syllables, but the point is that meter is made up of syllables. Now, we're not just interested in being able to count syllables, but we're interested in a particular type of syllable, or types of syllables, stressed and unstressed syllables. So these are the two types of syllables in meter, and a combination of stressed and unstressed syllables creates a rhythm in a line of poetry. And we're going to see how that works in a second. Now, if you didn't have stressed or unstressed syllables, which is actually impossible because all syllables are stressed or unstressed to a certain degree, then you would have a very monotonous kind of rhythm. But what stress or lack of stress does is it actually places emphasis on particular syllables. So in a word, you might put particular emphasis on particular syllables in the word. And what that does, if you create a line of those words, then it creates a kind of rhythm that you can hear. So what's the difference between the two? So stressed syllables are pronounced slightly louder and slightly longer. They're represented by a / and unstressed syllables are represented by an X when you're actually marking it down. Now, you won't have to mark down what types of syllables are in a poem. That's mainly just for you yourself, a way of seeing how the rhythm is progressing. What's more important is your ability to hear and to explain why there's certain stress or lack of stress and how that actually contributes to the rhythm of a poem. So, stressed and unstressed syllables, it really comes down to training the ear, because we don't normally go around thinking, wow, that syllable in that word, in that sentence was quite stressed. But it comes down to hearing. It comes down to your ability to listen to what's being said. So let's look at an example which I find really helpful when trying to remember stressed versus unstressed syllables. Let's look at the word, or words rather, present and present. Let's start with present. Present is a two-syllable word, present, present. But one syllable is stressed and the other one is unstressed. So let's listen to it again. Present, present, present. So hopefully you can hear that the first syllable in present is slightly louder and slightly longer, a bit more emphasized than the second one. Now let's listen to the word present. Present, present, present. So hopefully you can hear there that the first syllable is unstressed and the second syllable is stressed, slightly louder, slightly longer. Now it might sound like I'm kind of contriving the syllables in order to prove that one is stressed and one is unstressed. But if you repeat them several times, you'll hear that there is certain emphasis on one or the other syllable. And for this particular combination of sounds, it actually changes the word. So present, in the case of the gift, has present, present, present. So the first one being stressed, second unstressed, and then present, 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 unstressed to stressed. So hopefully a useful example to exemplify stressed and unstressed syllables. The other example that might be easier for you to remember is discus and discuss. So discus has the stressed syllable and then unstressed, and then discuss has unstressed and then stressed. Okay, so this video has been about stressed and unstressed syllables and how they might create rhythm. Here's what it would look like if we put in the forward slashes and the X's. So again, present, as in the act of giving a presentation, is unstressed and then stressed. And then present, which is a gift, is stressed and unstressed. Okay, easy to remember examples that you can kind of repeat and hopefully train your ear to hear stressed and unstressed syllables.